Hello, Sawab. You're here to say your piece with AD. How are you doing today?
Well, I just started my college today. It was my first day in the college. So, yes, that's how it was today.
Oh,
My
that
first day in the
voice,
college.
that voice doesn't sound that happy. So I presume you're not that happy going into college again, or like, what's the scene like?
No, it's not that I'm not happy to go to the college. It's just that I have not been able to contact my parents from past 4 days now.
Oh wow.
Yes,
Why is that so?
yes. So that's one reason, I'm just mind boggled with certain things. And yes, that's that.
Wait, you just said that you weren't able to contact your parents for the last 4 days. Um,
Yeah.
why is that so? Like, why haven't you been able to contact them?
Okay. So as you know, my name is Sawab. So I am from Kashmir. So you know how Kashmir has been right now from past 4 to 5 days. There is no communication because of the Article 370. You must have heard that it has been
Right.
scrapped.
Correct.
So what happened was the consequence of which was that phones are not working, the cables are not working, internet obviously is not working. It never does.
Wow.
So
Okay.
yes, I've not been able to talk to my family or anyone. I've not heard from Kashmir from past 4 days now.
Wow. Okay. That's a very somber start to our conversation. I really hope that, your communication lines spring back up and you're able to get
Inshallah,
your
fingers crossed, because it's just Eid after some days. It's on 12th and
right.
13th. It's Eid, so I really want my family back
I,
on.
and
Yeah.
I'm sure like everyone that's listening to this podcast,
Yeah.
or everyone who's going to listen to this podcast rather hopes the same. And yeah, I'm
Yeah.
sure that things will get better as time progresses.
Yes. We've always been through the same phase, so we know how to face it.
Right.
So, yes, we know how to face it, and this too shall pass, right?
Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, I really hope, fingers crossed. Well, I
fingers
had
crossed.
this whole introduction where I was going to tell you that this is podcast number two. The first one did relatively well, and that
Hmm.
in order for the third one to be greenlit, we need to do really well as well. But I
Yeah.
feel like I shouldn't start off with the joke. I guess I should start off with not just hoping and praying for your family, but everyone else who has relatives and families in Kashmir that I'm sure they too are suffering from bad
Yeah.
communication channels and
Oh,
perhaps
yes.
bad reception and things like that. So I really hope
Yes.
that communication lines bring back up, not just for you, but for everyone who has
For
friends,
everyone, exactly.
friends and family and loved ones in Kashmir. So I think we should start our podcast with that prayer and that hope as well.
Exactly.
So, guys, even though we've had a somber start to our podcast, I
Yes.
must formally introduce this multi-talented artist. She dabbles between both prose and poetry and expresses herself through multiple languages.
Oh my
So,
God.
our,
Multiple languages. Okay. Just four, guys. Just four.
just for, I mean, I speak only two languages in total, but yeah, you express yourself artistically in four. So, no
I
competition.
guess I paint
But
also. So does that have a language too?
okay, now you're just showing off, Sabab. For a
No,
minute,
I'm
I thought
not.
you were like, this really nice, really
Oh,
humble person, but I guess the
oh
humility has
God.
been thrown away. So,
Oh,
I guess before we begin our conversation with this humble being,
okay.
and before we write another chapter in your illustrious career, tell
Oh my
me,
God.
tell
Oh
me if
God.
you were a book, what would your preface read?
Oh God. That was this question. I really liked this question, but it's just that I don't know. It's just because I'm currently writing a book, and it would just be that every day is, you get to learn something from anyone's life. You wake up with that hope that you learn anything, even if you feel like you haven't learned anything, but you go to the bed and you think that, oh, my God, you've just, you've overcome something, some fear, of you learned to fear something. That's how I would, express myself. Uh, yeah, I
So
don't
you
know.
basically have this passion for learning new things, for having new
Yes,
days each day you wake up, perhaps.
all this while in my, in my undergraduate, I've changed a lot. So
Right.
I've learned a lot in those years actually. When I was away from home, I felt for my home more deeply, and that was
Mhm.
when I felt like every day, it's not वो हम सब कहते हैं कि हर दिन एक challenge है, घिसा पिटा line है. But trust me, every day, is a new chapter, is a new page. It's like a book. Like you
Right.
don't know what's in the next line. You may fall in love with the next line, or new page or anything, new chapter. So it's like that, I
So,
guess.
so it's almost like every page of your book requires a different preface then.
Yes,
Okay.
trust me, because my life has been
Right.
colorful.
Right. And that's what we want to get into, find out more about all of these colors that it's
Yes,
painted with. But I think the one color that stands out that is forged this relationship
yes,
is the color of art.
yes,
I've been fortunate enough to read your poetry, to read some of the short stories that you've written, and
yes,
clearly you have a deep connection with art. Clearly you choose it as a mode of expression. So tell me,
yes.
what does art mean to you?
See, I'll tell you, Anirudh, I've come from a place, what place I come from. It's Kashmir. So there's a lot of suppression and oppression both. And when you kind of suppress and push something down, I told you the other day, when you push something down, it feels like coming up. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and that thing, when it feels like it comes out as aggression, as creativity, as anger, as pain, as tears, as all of those things.
Mm-hmm.
So I switched my, I put all my energies into creativity. That's that. So people might get angry, and people, Kashmir has had a huge hand in all of that, bringing art in my life.
Mm-hmm.
I never thought that I would be this creative, that I would write also, paint, and I would write stories. I shared this thing 2 days ago when I told you that I failed in my English exam in my eighth standard.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
that's one, that was a trigger in my life actually. That
Right.
well, I
It
can't
was
do
like
that.
turning
So
of a page,
oh
absolutely.
yes, when anyone tells me that you can't do that, trust me, I have to do that twice and show that person that, oh, now see it. You see it, I did the second time also.
Right.
So I'm that kind of a person.
I'm
So yes, I failed in eighth standard, and yes, and that was that.
right. So I think
Yeah.
the one thing that even through this limited conversation thus far, everyone has possibly discovered is your deep connection with Kashmir, your home,
Yes.
your place of birth.
Yes.
And it
Yes.
seems to be a very powerful muse that
Yes.
festers the art out of here. So,
Yes.
like, tell me a little more about, how Kashmir inspired you to create art. You talk about how it evokes so many different forms of expressions, but
Oh yes,
how,
it
how,
does.
how did it evoke artistic expression?
One, the beauty actually. You start with that, okay?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
Mountains everywhere, lush green nature, and then when that nature is kind of, barbed in wires, sorry, caged in barbed wires. So
mm-hmm,
you feel like, and you're muzzled, and you feel like, people are suppressing you, and you can't talk about your own home openly. You can't talk
mm-hmm.
about your
Hello,
identity
Sawab?
outside.
I'm sorry,
People
we,
used to
we lost you
pinpoint.
for a minute there. Sorry,
Yes.
Sawab. Can you repeat that? Sorry, we lost you for a minute.
Okay.
Yeah.
I am, yes, I was saying that, when people pinpoint and, pick you for your, identity. For example, when I was in Pune and there was an incident where I was, called, a traitor, uh, for being a Kashmiri. So, yeah, that's that, that's when, I felt like I should put, I should give words to these feelings. So that's
Right,
when I felt like Kashmir needs, something like pen, more than anger, or more than, uh, guns.
right,
So let's do it the better way, because pen has the power actually. So, and it does. So I switched to writing and painting. I used to I used to actually sketch for a
Hmm.
daily newspaper also,
Hmm.
and I used to write for the same paper. So it's small poems and everything. So that's how I started actually. So yeah,
That's
it's just giving voice to the inner emotions. That's because that's what I said. When you feel when you're caged in your own house, you have no internet, you see bodies, you
mhm.
see people in aggression, you feel like saying something. And yeah, that is how it all came out. Yes.
So, I mean, in a weird way, like the person calling you out for being a Kashmiri and associating you with a traitor, perhaps, does
Yes.
that sort of like embolden your identity as a Kashmiri? Like, does that even make that connection that much more stronger because someone's calling you out and
Oh,
mischaracterizing who you are?
trust me, whenever I stand, whenever I stand, people, as an introduction or any, even in presentation or something, I'll tell you an incident what happened in college. I had this slam poetry in my college, and I had participated in that. What happened was, I stood out and I got onto the stage and I was reading my poem, and it was about Kashmir. It was that Flames of Blood that you posted on Road to Sangam.
Mm-hmm.
So what happened was this, everyone clapped for everyone, but no one clapped for me. It was death-like silence. So
Mm.
I got a little scared. I was like, okay, fine.
You
Sawab, you're going to
question
get
whether
rusticated.
right,
Sawab, you're
right.
going to get rusticated. So be prepared. Just pack your bags and leave. So I just got down, and trust me, I take pride in calling myself a Kashmiri. I cannot hide my identity.
Right.
The more people call me a traitor for being a Kashmiri, I take pride in being a Kashmiri. Why should I be ashamed of something, what you believe in? What, like,
Mm.
I don't know, like you
So
believe
your
that I'm a traitor. So why should,
so,
yeah,
so
yeah.
so in a way, your art is basically a mode of liberation, is a mode of which by which you actually tell people who you are and how these mischaracterizations are just simply not true. Like it's basically a form of you just venting out all your emotions. Is that the
Exactly.
case?
Maya Angelou kind of a thing, how she liberated herself through her words. It's just
Mhm.
that feeling, when I read her poetry, I feel like as if she's writing about me, like as any other Kashmiri or any other person who is feeling from
Right.
a likewise. So yeah, it's that. So yeah, you
But
liberate yourself. Yeah, you free yourself from negativities
negative energy,
actually.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And so, like the one interesting thing that you shared was about this poetry slam competition and how
Yeah,
your
yeah,
beautiful poem, which I could attest to is an
yeah.
extremely beautiful poem, was met with
Thank
absolute
you.
silence.
Thank you so much.
Um,
Yeah, the
do,
absolute silence. Yeah. I was
and do you
like,
feel like there were people in that audience who actually wanted to appreciate what you had made, what you had
people
created,
who
but just
wanted to
couldn't do that
appreciate.
publicly?
Yes, because people are scared of showing their emotions. People came to me afterwards.
Hmm.
I met my best friend in that thing actually. She came up to me. She said, "What a wonderful poem," but I could not say that out loud because no one was clapping, so I couldn't clap for you. I was
Right.
like, it's okay, but I love that fact that you came to me. And there was another guy who came to me that I loved this line, this particular line about the half widows, the myrtle being washed. I was like, thank you so much. And again, he said the same. I could not clap for you. I'm so sorry, but I could not because no one else did.
Right.
So, yes, people do support you, but they're scared because of the hysteria that has been created, the whole
Mhm.
thing that is being created about Kashmiris through media.
Right.
So, yes, because of that, I guess. And I don't blame these people. Trust me, even Kashmiris are muzzled, so I don't blame any one of them.
Right.
As long as she came up to me and said that I support you, I'm fine with that. Trust me. But I'm not fine with people calling me traitor. I'm even fine with that, but why should you? Why should you?
No, absolutely. I mean, that makes a lot of sense. And in fact, talking about censorship, Sawa, because I mean, I'm sure it must have felt special in a way to have these people come down and tell you individually in a personal space that they really enjoyed your work. But you
Yes,
perhaps also want some form of public adulation, right? Because you're expressing your thoughts in this beautiful manner and you want an audience to react to just the art itself and the powerful
exactly.
emotions that it comes from. So, absolutely, I can understand that. But like, just talking about censorship. have you ever had to censor your thoughts to produce a particular artwork because of, fear of how people would react to it, perhaps?
I was talking to Naveen from Road to Sangam the
Okay.
other day, the first day actually I got into Road to Sangam.
Mm-hmm.
So I told him I am from Kashmir and I write about Kashmir. And he said, I don't have a problem in that. We in Road to Sangam don't have a problem with that. So
Mm-hmm.
what happened before was I've been to so many forums, so many this slam poetries and everything. Whenever I go on the stage and I say I'm from Kashmir and I have to talk about Kashmir, they're like, not you. Okay. So
Right.
what I do is I give the place. I cannot censor my thoughts. I'm so
Right.
sorry. I'm so sorry, but
So
not
you
sorry
never
actually.
you
I leave
you
the
don't
place,
need to
but
be
not.
apologetic about it,
I
right?
censor the place, but not my thoughts actually.
Okay. So
So
you never in your illustrious career have you ever had to censor your own thoughts or your own
never.
artwork? Okay, that's
Never,
wonderful.
Anil.
You've
I
stood
have
your
been
ground.
very honest. Even when I came to Road to Sangam, I am so so thankful to you guys because I've been to so many places where people say that, oh, you write about Kashmir. I don't think we take that content, and people will be able to take that content. And I'm like, okay, I leave that place. I cannot
Right.
censor, I cannot put my thoughts on hold because you don't like it. What
Absolutely.
is the sense of art then? Tell me. What
No,
does art
absolutely.
mean?
I mean, artist or art itself is just expressing thoughts, feelings, opinions. And sure, I'm pretty sure you wouldn't mind people perhaps having an opposing view and talking to you
Yeah,
about it in a civilized manner.
I
But
would
I
love
guess
that.
absolutely. But to censor you completely, I think, in my own opinion, it's absurd. Like, I feel like you should be given platforms, not just Road to Sangam, but every platform that invites debate, that invites discussion, that invites artistic expression. You
I
should
would love
also have a
questions
place there.
on any damn thing regarding my regarding my art. I would love that.
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
would love people asking me questions about my art, be it positive, negative, both. But
Right.
not allowing me to speak is like it shows a lot about you then, not me.
I mean,
So
that's
yeah,
interesting, right? Like maybe people are so consumed in the silos that they live in that they just don't
yeah,
want to listen to alternative opinions, right? And which is where I perhaps want to like drive this conversation into an interesting area or space, right?
yeah,
Because I'm someone who is also exposed to Kashmir, but exposed to the media, exposed through movies.
yeah.
So perhaps you could educate us about, you know, what is existing perception about Kashmir and how different is Kashmir from that existing perception, perhaps.
See, I'll tell you one thing that uh, obviously you can't unlove your home, you love it.
Hmm.
No matter in whatever situation it is, whatever situation that house is in, you will still love that house no matter
Hmm.
what.
Hmm.
So it is
Absolutely.
the same case with me. I cannot unlove that that particular place, my home, my people. One thing about Kashmir has been an issue of pride always, even for India and for Kashmir both, which has ruined both the places for each other actually.
Right.
There's a lot of gap between the government and the people of Kashmir. I don't say India because I live with people here in Pune, so I don't find it difficult to live here. People love me, and I love people here.
Hmm.
It's just that the differences between the government, the central government, I'm saying any government.
Hmm.
I won't name the parties, but be it any government, any government. So there are a lot of differences between the government and the people, and there is not a good representation for the same. And no one, trust me, is allowed to represent Kashmir rightly. No one. The
But
voices
then
are
why?
silenced.
How is it different? Like that, I'm sorry to interrupt you, Sawab, but like
Yes.
the existing perception is that Kashmir is this beautiful place surrounded with mountains, with valleys, but sadly, it also has, perhaps, uh, terrorist elements, or it
Mm,
has a widespread violence in some
mhm.
capacity, or it has very strong military presence. And so, like,
Yeah.
how different is Kashmir from this existing perception? Because I feel, okay, I might not represent a majority of Indians in India, but
Mhm.
I always considered Kashmir to be a part of India. I just felt like it was a place that perhaps
But yeah, it
suffered
is a
from
part.
the
Obviously, it
consequences
is
of
a
being.
part and
Yeah,
parcel.
yeah,
Because see, when I come to this part of India, for example, I go to Delhi, I come to Pune, anywhere. For example, right now I'm in Pune. I don't feel any different from you right now. I
right.
don't. But it is when when there are no killings here, Anirudh.
Hmm, hmm.
And whenever protests are held here, are completely different, are dealt with in completely different way than they are handled in Kashmir. Actually,
Hmm.
there's a lot of difference between how anyone has handled Kashmir. That's what I'm saying. The government has a huge role to play in how they've differently handled Kashmir, and alienated them further.
Right.
So there are a lot of killings, and there are, trust me, killings are, you cannot kill anyone, let alone terrorists. I'm not talking about terrorists. Collateral damage, I'm talking about 12-year-old boys, 11-year-old boys, 17-year-old boys. There is one whole village in Kashmir, Anirudh, that does not have men in their family.
Well,
Yeah, they've all either disappeared or dead. Do
that's.
we deserve it? Do we really deserve it? Does anyone really deserve to die from a bullet at the age of 12, Anirudh?
I mean, I mean, I can only answer with a simple no. Sadly, I don't think I have words to
Even
perhaps
if it was
respond.
collateral damage, even
Yeah.
if it was war, Anirudh, do you think it is justified, Anirudh? For God's sake, tell me, is it justified?
So, Sabab, like, obviously, through this conversation or through any conversations for that matter, we perhaps can't necessarily mold how things are progressing or happening in Kashmir. But perhaps as an artist who speaks so much with so much pride about her homeland, about
Yes.
where she comes from, perhaps you could tell me or tell all our listeners maybe a couple of things that we should know about Kashmir beyond what we already know that would perhaps
Yeah.
help us better understand this place.
If you think that we are an integral part of India, then treat us like one.
Okay.
Just that. Just
Okay.
that. Because if there, trust me, if Article 370 would have been anywhere and removed and scrapped, trust me, there would have been that would have been scrapped in a better way than they are doing it in Kashmir. Trust me, Anirudh, it's not a good feeling right now because I have not been able to contact my father. And the last thing my father said to me is like, no matter what you hear about us, don't come back home.
Right.
That was the last thing he said. And my mother from behind, I don't know, she was talking to someone. I don't know. She was like, "Hamara khana khatam ho gaya hai, khana lana hai," in Kashmiri. Right
Right.
now, where do they get food, the basic amenities and anything? Do you think this is ruthless? This is ruth. You can't even treat animals like that. How you're treating Kashmiris right now? Trust me, I'm so sorry to say that, but the
Right.
government has not handled this well. No matter how much you're celebrating what? You're celebrating what? That you won Kashmir, but you did not win Kashmiris. I'm so sorry. You just alienated them. Just push them further and further.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Well, again, perhaps it wouldn't be appropriate for me to give an opinion without understanding the facts, without knowing everything that's going down on the ground. But at the very
Mm-hmm.
least, what I can tell you is that I really sympathize with everyone over there. Obviously, I can't empathize with it because never
Mm-hmm.
lived through such a scenario. But
Mm-hmm.
I mean, at the very least, I hope that these troubles or these problems are temporary and
Yeah.
things get better as time progresses. Hopefully,
Inshallah. Inshallah.
irrespective of what people feel or think about what's
Oh
going
yeah.
down there from a political standpoint,
All
I hope
we
that
all everyone, like, we all need love, Anirudh, at the end.
I
Trust
think
me.
that's the central message that we should
Yeah, we
perhaps
all need
spread through this
love.
podcast.
We don't need
Absolutely.
hatred. And currently, trust me, be it anyone, this government is just, you know, sending the message of hate and hatred. And
Right.
I'm so sorry to say that, but yes, we all need love, be it anyone, irrespective of place, gender, caste, creed, religion. We need love. We need love direly, Anirudh.
I mean, and absolutely, I think most people that listen to this podcast would agree that that Kashmir is a important part of the country, and that we would love to see progress, development, and
Yeah.
those are the things that we like to hear about as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess the message that we want to perhaps spread beyond politics, beyond any of those other things that perhaps are not in
Exactly.
our control, is
Because it
that
boils down to that. It's about politics, it's about religion,
Mhm.
it's about anything. It's just about love. Because love has no religion, no politics, nothing. It's just love.
Absolutely. And I think the same way art perhaps has
Exactly my
correct,
point.
right, right,
And it
and
comes there. Yes. Comes to
exactly.
that.
So I mean,
That's
apart
what
from absolutely, so like apart from Kashmir, like because
yeah.
obviously Kashmir is such a strong part of your identity, it's a strong
Yes.
part of who you are. But are there other muses that you've identified over the years that
Yes,
like to
my
write
own
about?
personal experiences actually, I write about those. I've had,
Okay.
it's not that I've experienced a lot. I've not lived much as of now,
Oh,
but
you were just
I've
about to
had,
reveal your age before you realized you don't want to do that, and then you quickly pivoted back into just saying you haven't
no,
lived
no, no,
much. Like,
no, not, I don't have a problem. I am, no, I have okay, I don't know if it is right, but I call myself a baby. So
right.
that is what I was going to say, that I'm still a baby.
Uh-huh.
So,
But you have very strong opinions, yeah. I don't think babies are allowed to have as strong opinions as you
yeah,
do.
that's what I was going to say. I was not going to say about anything about my age, but okay, fine. Uh, I'm just as old as you are.
Okay, wow, that's wonderful. It's nice. Put me on the spot right there.
Yay.
Well done.
So,
Well done. I
yes.
mean, I have to give that one to you for sure.
Thanks.
So, so yeah, you talk about like your own life experiences being
Yes.
really powerful muses, right? So one of the poems that I read was about love, was about
Yes.
how love was now the drug of sorts. So
Yes.
like I
Well,
hear someone. Yep. Sorry. Go on.
yeah, ask. I would love to answer that question.
Perfect. Okay,
Yeah.
so speaking of love, like, the one thing that I have seen over Instagram, over social media, over so
Mm-hmm.
many different platforms, right? That
Yes.
love
Yes.
seems to be one of the most popular, sadly, maybe a cliche of sorts when it comes
Yes.
to themes that underlie art or underlie
Hashtag you,
poetry.
hashtag me, hashtag S. Yes.
So,
That.
so So, how do you see love, which is somewhat of an overexposed theme, being portrayed in art? Do you think that it's reduced to a cliche? Do you think there are different beats to it that haven't been discovered, perhaps?
No, as far as, see, trust me, whatever is in Instagram and everything, okay, fine, it's there. But I don't, I don't take that thing as cliche or something like that. People have something to express, and they
Hmm.
want to express, and they're there, they're out there expressing it. As long as they're expressing it, I'm fine with that.
Right. So this is where you choose to be diplomatic, right? Like all this while we had this fierce, opinionated
No,
Sawab, and
diploma. I
now
thought you were going
as soon
to
as
ask
it's
about
love,
my poem, Anirudh. Come on, it boils down to cliche. How is love cliche? But yes, I don't think it's cliche.
okay, fair enough. I guess it's just one of those evergreen themes that everyone likes to write about.
Yes,
So absolutely.
Gulzar, everyone. Like I loved Gulzar and Ghalib and so many, other poets who've written
That's
about
great.
love.
Like, so tell us more about your inspirations. Like, who taught you to write, or who inspired you to write the way you
Okay, I would love to. Oh, I would love to name her. My English teacher, Rehana ma'am. Actually, what happened?
do?
She did not
I'm so
actually
sorry to interrupt you,
teach
Sabab.
me to write in English.
One second,
You're able
Sabab.
to
I need
just
to interrupt you right there. I need to interrupt you right there. Rihanna, ma'am, if you're listening, one day this podcast is going to have millions of views. And that
yes,
day, you're going to be immortalized in the words of Sawab Mukhtar right here. So I want you to
yes,
notice this point of time, right? Note it down, right?
yes.
So Rihanna,
So
ma'am, we're making you famous. We're on the
she was
road
my
to making you
English teacher.
famous.
Yeah, she was my English teacher, but she did not teach me to write in English. But she was, when I was in my 10th grade and I started writing small essays. We had these essays in our question paper, like write an essay on this and that. So
Right.
she always, she came to me with my paper saying that Sawab, you have a spark in you. I see a spark in your writing.
Mm-hmm.
So I looked at her because I was underconfident about myself because I had just failed in my English exam. So I was like, okay, so she believes in me. But then, when I passed my 12th exam I kind of topped my school in English department, and
Suck
she hugged
right.
me, and she hugged me and said that I believe in you.
Right.
And that, I believe in you reverberates in my brain, in my heart. It's engraved there. So that
Wow.
is what keeps me going. That is what keeps me writing. Even if I feel that I'm not good,
Mm-hmm.
uh, that voice comes back to me at once, and I write.
So thank you, Rihanna, ma'am. It's because of
Yeah.
you. Sawab Mukhtar is a really powerful sangama on our
I
platform. So
thank
thank you, Rihanna, ma'am.
you.
And as long as we're thanking teachers, I want to thank my own Vimla, ma'am. You're the best. Thank you.
Yay!
I want to make you famous as well. All right, Vimla, ma'am.
Yes.
Shout out to
And my
Vimla,
and
ma'am.
my mom actually, because whenever I used to write anything, my
Hmm.
mom used to memorize it.
Oh
My
wow,
mom, my mom has learned each and every poem of mine, and she
wow.
remembers it. And
Right,
whenever I, get back to her, she's like, "That poem, this." Even I don't remember my poem, but she does. So with her, she always wants me to write something new, so that she has something new to remember of
right.
me. So
My
she's
mom
so
is
proud.
very supportive of my poetry writing as well, but just because this is a conversation, not an interview, I like to share an incident about the
I
same.
would love to hear that.
So I actually wrote a particular piece which perhaps had a little more provocative language, said
Hmm.
things that we talk about
What
in
do you mean
closed
by
doors.
provocative?
Yeah,
No.
like I spoke about prostitutes, condoms, and
Do
things
you
like that.
think, do you, sorry to interrupt, do you think it's provocative?
I don't
Art is
think I
provocative?
once again I don't think it's provocative language.
Uh-huh.
Hence, I like to indulge in like, these thoughts. But I'm talking
Do you
more
know
about
who's my
insightful.
favorite writer?
Uh huh. Thanks
Saadat
for
Hasan
interrupting my
Manto.
story. But go on, repeat that. Sorry.
Saadat Hasan Manto.
Okay. And,
Yeah,
tell us
he
about
used to
this
write.
Ustad.
You don't know, you haven't heard about him, Manto?
Okay. Oh, Manto. One. There was a
Yeah.
movie starring Nawazuddin Siddiqui that
Okay, yeah,
actually
that.
was correct. Is it the same man?
Yes, yes, the same man. I
Okay.
was in love
Yeah.
with him from past. I read his story in my Urdu uh, class, and since then I am in love with that man. Yes. So he
Okay.
used to write about prostitute, the provocative, quote
Right.
unquote,
So wait,
whatever.
you've just compared me to a prolific writer of the past. So I mean
Prolific.
now,
I'm just saying that nothing is provocative. Why am I
okay.
stuck on this word?
So you're not giving me props. You're just saying that you both happen to write about provocative things. All right. Thank you,
Yes,
Sabah. Thank
provocative.
you.
Yes,
All right.
yes,
Okay.
yes.
Thank you so
Go
much
on with
for
the
not
incident.
only interrupting my story, but then telling me about this prolific writer who I thought you were comparing me with, and then telling me I was nothing like. Thank you. All right.
No, no, not that. I just said that even he used to write about prostitutes and everything, and people thought that it was derogatory and everything.
Right.
People pointed him and said that he writes about certain stuff, and that we shouldn't talk about. It should be under the under the what?
Right. Like it should perhaps be more
Behind
palatable to
curtains.
society's taste. Right, right.
Yes, yes.
Just a question. Did Mr. Manto's mother call him up and say that you should immediately remove these posts from Facebook because it just create a negative perception of her son? Was that something that Manto's mother did?
No,
Okay, then I have
Mantu
one over him.
did.
Then I have one over him. Yes. All right. There you go.
Yeah. But other
Awesome.
people did, but he didn't
Yeah.
listen.
Right. So didn't
Mm.
I. So didn't I. So
Yay, see,
so so
there's a lot
absolutely.
more common in you and Manto.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, all you Manto fans, please check out the poetry of Anirudh Dalmia, only available on
Yay.
Lotus Sangam.
Okay,
Cheap plug
now go
right
on
there.
with the story, Anirudh.
No, I mean, you pretty much ruined it. So, in long story short, she
I'm
gave me this
sorry.
really angry, emotional call stating that all of
Uh-huh.
this provocative material must be removed from social media immediately. Otherwise,
Oh.
it could impede my future. So, I'm like, stop censoring me, mother. I mean, it was a heated conversation, and yeah, that was that. It was a much more fun story when I was initially about to narrate it, but yeah, no worries. I'll forgive you for that, Sawab.
Okay. I'm so sorry. I feel
No worries.
bad now.
No worries, no worries. So let me like perhaps make you feel better. So we have
Mm.
this final segment of our conversation, which is,
Mhm.
the long glorified rapid fire round. Like since Karan Johar has brought it to the foray,
Oh,
it seems like every
the rapid fire
podcaster is
culture. Yes.
absolutely. So to
Uh,
make you feel like a celebrity, which you are on our
oh
platform,
my
uh,
God.
we'll take you through a rapid fire round. All right.
Oh, yay.
So Sawab, are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready. Go on,
Fantastic.
Anirudh.
The first question. If you had to
Uh,
reimagine the world, what would you change? What is that one thing that you would change?
Hatred, of
Hatred.
course.
Okay.
Yeah.
So wait, there's nothing you hate in this world.
I don't hate anything. I just hate the hatred people
Okay.
have
So,
in their
so,
minds
so
and
so
hearts.
wait. Are you fond of like Justin Bieber songs by any chance then?
No.
So there are some things that are worth hating, right? Let's make that clear, right?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, I've just changed your mind right there. Second question. A
Uh,
guilty pleasure.
ooh. I'm thinking what so because so many things are coming to my mind, just setting for
Right.
chocolate.
Chocolate. Okay, I have a feeling that you had a much more R-rated answer, but then you just skipped to the chocolate because you were like censoring yourself at that point. But okay, nonetheless, quickly moving on. A
There's so
superpower,
many things that. Uh-huh.
a superpower you would like to give yourself.
Superpower. Right now, phone connection or wings to fly to home.
Okay, I cannot make a joke about that.
Yes,
Um, if you
you
had
can
to
do that.
have one last meal or have a meal for the same meal for the entire duration of your life, what would that meal be?
Oh, मेरे mom की बनी बैंगन और टमाटर की सब्जी.
Wow, that sounds great. Like
Yeah.
if you get access to some of that, please share.
Yes, will do.
Awesome. A person living or dead you would like to share a meal with. I mean, apart from me,
Vincent,
of course.
Vincent Van Gogh, Vincent Van Gogh, Vincent
Okay.
Van Gogh.
You didn't
Yes.
take a second to recognize the fact that I was on the table, but okay, sure, awesome. Let's
Sorry.
quickly.
Living or dead, I got stuck in dead. I'm so
Right,
sorry.
right. Thanks a lot, Sabab. This conversation has been great for my self confidence. Anyway,
Like you, Anirudh.
a song that is constantly stuck in your head.
Oh, आज रंग है.
Aaj Rang Hai. Okay, wow. Educate me about this. I haven't heard of this song before.
Oh, it's a song. It's actually a folk song.
Okay.
Yeah, it has been originally sung by Amjad Sabri, who just
Amritsar.
died. Amjad Sabri, who died
Amjad.
who was shot at in Pakistan, actually, I guess.
Oh, wow. Okay. So, I
Yeah, yeah.
mean,
It's a
I would then.
Kavariya.
Oh, amazing. So, I think all our viewers or rather all our listeners should definitely catch some of Amjad's Sabri. Am I pronouncing the name correct?
Oh, even you should listen to it. Aaj
Of
Rang Hai
course, of
Reema.
course. That goes without saying. But yeah, everyone, please tune in. Finally, Sabab, and you have a chance to make up for all the beating you've given to my confidence thus far. In poetry form, please
Mm-hmm.
serenade me.
Oh my God. Now, how do I do it in just 10 minutes? Like five
I
seconds?
thought I was inspiration that was strong enough to command art, like right there in a snap. No, apparently.
See,
Okay. I mean,
I'll tell you, all this conversation has, whatever it has invoked in me is just that I feel like going back to home now.
so
That's
wait. I
all.
mean, I'm so sorry about making this perhaps inappropriate joke in this time, but
No,
you,
no,
my
no, no.
my voice and my conversational skills have just wanted you to like drop the phone and run back home. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. All right, thank you, Sabab. But
Yeah.
I think on a more serious note, thank you so much for
Good.
being here today, Sabab. And
Thank you so
gen-
much for having me. I would again, I would love to thank you guys, and I would love to mention this thing that I love the fact how you all welcome uh, the artist and the art, irrespective of anything. I'm talking about Road to Sangam, guys, and the
abs-
people. Yes, the
thank you so
people
much.
you have, the bunch of people you have. You, Anirudh, I'm talking about. Naveen and Kshitij. I've talked to
Right.
these many people, and trust me, you all welcomed me so nicely, so warmly. I loved it, and I thank you for that because I love the way you respect artists and then art.
Absolutely.
Uh,
Because
I,
I think,
yeah,
Sabab, this is a conversation that we've had, and I guess this is a great way of ending today's podcast. Is that
exactly.
everyone.
I know how much it means to me because I've been censored a lot, as you said before, as you
Mhm,
mentioned
mhm,
before. I've been censored
mhm.
a lot, Anirudh. But trust me,
Absolutely.
not even once have you said that we won't put that because it's something, our viewers or, these, they won't take, the readers won't take. So
No,
you never said
absolutely.
that.
So I think the one thing that we're very clear about is, as much as we don't want to hold any strong opinions about anything in anyone, we feel
Yeah.
like every opinion should have a platform.
I guess that is
Similarly,
what art signifies in our
absolutely,
world.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that's what we want to do. Everyone has a form of expression, everyone has a
Art
story
for
to tell.
art's sake, actually.
Absolutely, absolutely. And
Art for
plus,
art's sake.
I feel like when people listen to stories through art, they
Yes.
perhaps afford it a more listening ear, and
Hmm.
therefore we are able to relate to each other. We're able to communicate our struggles and
Yes.
then empathize with each other's struggles, with each other's stories. And that's the powerful tool that art gives us. So thank you
Yes.
so much for using our platform, for
Yes.
giving it all of the
Thank you
powerful
so much for
stories that you've
having me
shared.
on your platform. Trust me, it has
Absolutely,
been an honor.
absolutely.
It has
It's
been an
our
honor.
platform now because that's how we
Yes.
treat all our sangamas. We're all a
Yes.
part of a
Yes.
big
Yes.
family,
Yes.
and I invite everyone
It
to
feels
go
like
check out.
family. It feels like home. Trust me. Whenever I
Absolutely.
talk to you, it feels like home. I feel like sharing more. I
See,
feel like
now she's saying nice things about me, people, and I want you to specifically focus
oh
on
my.
this part of the segment, right?
Now who's bragging?
So, I mean, I would recommend everyone to go check out Zawab's poems and short stories that are
I
available on
would
the platform.
recommend, please check out these guys. They're really
Yeah,
good people. Art
absolutely.
for
And
art's sake. That'll
abs
be our today's this thing. Art for art's sake.
art for art's sake. But I think
Yes.
an even more powerful, perhaps, point to note from this conversation is that we hope everyone in Kashmir who
Yes.
might be going through a stage of turmoil, a time of turmoil, gets through this
Guys,
as
we all need
peacefully,
love.
with
Love us.
health, with wealth, and with a positive future ahead. So hope only good things to come. And
Yes.
I really hope that you can establish contact with your parents. And even in this
Hopefully.
tumultuous time, you gave us your time. So thank you so much, Sawab,
And
and wish you
I
a
love the
lovely
conversation.
evening.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, folks, that's all from us. We are wrapping up episode 2, and stay tuned for episode 3. And if you have any more questions for Sawab, she'll be more than happy to answer
Yes.
them
Yes.
through
I
the
would love
platform.
that. I would love that.
Absolutely. So good evening and stay tuned. Thank you.